Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about Dungeons and Dragons, and we are specifically going to talk about the new Critical Role game that just happened last week, where shockingly, Matthew Mercer had Marisha Ray. This is really interesting. Had brought Marisha Ray and put her into his dungeon master seat. Now, guess why he did it? He did this because Marisha Ray is playing Laudna, who is dead. Okay? And the Critical Role group was dealing with things that were happening with Laudna. Now, Laudna is a hollow one, and Marisha Ray wants Laudna resurrected, but her character is dead. Now, previously, most dungeon masters, okay, all right. So here, let me explain what I'm talking about here. Matthew Mercer just put Marisha Ray in the dungeon master seat. The reason he did that is he did not want to speak for her character by speaking with her as a non-player character. Right below, you will see the link of the video where I said Matthew Mercer should handle this way. He should, anytime he's going to talk, anytime he's going to use somebody else's character, he should not just take their player character and then use them as an NPC. He should actually give the power and the agency of a dungeon master to that player. He should break off a shard of his power, right, and give it to that player. And he did exactly what I said on my channel, right? Now, did Matthew Mercer listen to my channel and then do what I said? Absolutely not. I understand that is not what happened. I think so why did Matthew Mercer do what I said to do, right? I said it before he did it, and then he did it. So why did that happen? Well, one of the things is there is a zeitgeist within Dungeons and Dragons, and a lot of our commentators understand some of these meta issues that are happening in Dungeons and Dragons. This is a major meta issue in Dungeons and Dragons. And what's happening is, so basically, I think the whole world is waking up to what I'm saying. Dungeons and Dragons is not even remotely a game. It is a powerful artifact of modern life that is spinning threads of human progress, right? And when you talk about Critical Role, you think I'm wrong? Take a look, okay? What is Critical Role doing? First of all, it's making millionaires. Everybody on Critical Role, in my opinion, at this point is a millionaire, right? They got season 2 coming up from a major streamer, right? Like, you know, it's not unheard of that Matthew Mercer and the crew could be in a room with Jeff Bezos. That's not outlandish, right? That may or may not have happened, but the reality, you know, but they're a hair's breadth away from talking to one of the richest men in the world, right? Because they're making content directly for his streamer, right? And, you know, Jeff Bezos is battling to come out on top of the streaming wars, right? And now Dungeons and Dragons is part of the battle for the streaming crown, right? Which is one of the, like, that's the new American Steel. Like, I don't know if you know this, but Dungeons and Dragons is literally on the front lines of the biggest multi-billion-dollar war that is happening among American corporations, right? You don't know it, but like the gold rush today is the rush to win the streaming wars. And this isn't a joke. Dungeons and Dragons is on the front lines of this, right? You know what the #1 show on Stranger Things is? On Netflix is? Stranger Things. It's a D&D show. You know what one of the major shows on primetime video is now? It's Critical Role. That's a D&D show, right? Like Dungeons and Dragons legit is on the front lines of the streaming wars, right? So basically, what I think the reason Matthew Mercer, you know, said, hey, you know, Laudna is Marisha Ray's character. She's dead. Marisha Ray cannot roleplay this dead character, right? So I need to give her a shard of my Dungeons and Dragons power. And he literally put her in the Dungeons and Dragons seat, right? Because he couldn't have, he can't put a player character next to the players, right? Only a dungeon master can speak for a dead character, because a dead character is not a functional player character, right? So I found this incredibly fascinating, right? That Matthew Mercer put Marisha Ray in the a player in the seat of the Dungeon Master so that she could role-play Laudna, because Laudna is dead. And role-playing, and it is a prerequisite that you, as a player, be alive when you are playing. Now, I understand that the characters are Hollow One, whatever. Like, you see where I'm going here, right? So generally you can, and actually Hollow Ones are granted the, they have passing privilege as living. So that's the only reason she was allowed to play a dead person. Hollow Ones are passing privilege to play a dead character as though they're alive, right? Because basically your player character needs to be alive. When they die, you no longer have the right to put it at the table, right? And so that's the issue. Now you can get a passing privilege, right, from a Hollow One for being alive, which is kind of interesting. So the issue is when Matthew Mercer put Marisha Ray in that seat, that's incredibly fascinating, right? Why did he do it? Well, the reason why is Matthew Mercer knows what I knew 5 years ago. Everything that happens in Dungeons & Dragons matters a lot, and it's increasingly. And Matthew Mercer knows this personally, right? He knows what a Dungeons & Dragons game can do now. What has his Dungeons & Dragons game done? Well, one, it's made him and all of his friends, except his cruelly excluded Orion Akaba, it's made them all millionaires. That's powerful, okay? It's done far more than that. Critical Role has raised millions of dollars for charity, right? So there are many poor people who have deficiencies, marginalized minorities who have been incredibly blessed by Critical Role. That's real, right? That's something that is happening from a, air quotes, game that is very real and very impacting and is not an illusion, right? The idea that Dungeons & Dragons is a game is a ludicrous fallacy that only the most foolish believe. Dungeons & Dragons is a powerful force for human progression, right? And it is now a wealth engine as well for people who don't even work for Marisha Ray doesn't work for, Wizards of the Coast, right? Matthew Mercer, that's a big question mark. He kind of does work for Wizards of the Coast because he's selling them. He sold them 2 books. He's got 1 more due. Hey, get to work, right? So he actually owes them work, right? So I think Matthew Mercer kind of does work for Wizards of the Coast, but his wife, Marisha Ray, doesn't, right? And the reason you see Matthew Mercer putting Marisha Ray in the Dungeon Master seat is we are reaching a point where a created player character has incredible value, right? And the reality is you can't, and so a Dungeon Master who is smart, a Dungeon Master who is kind, a Dungeon Master who is tolerant, absolutely never takes a player character and treats them as an NPC. That is the iconic declaration: you are a schmuck DM. Okay? Only schmuck DMs take somebody's player character that they crafted and use it as an NPC. It is wrong, and we should take an example from the best Dungeon Master in the world, bar none, Matthew Mercer, and make sure that we are honoring players. And if we need their player character to do something, we do not just take their player character and turn it into an NPC. That is wrong, disrespectful, and incredibly problematic. Instead, we break off a shard of our own Dungeon Master power and we hand it to them, which is exactly what Mercer did. All that's my humble opinion. I'm ready to hear yours. I'm eager to hear yours. Let me know in the comments below. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.